Okay, hopefully the sound's fixed now. That's a common glitch seem to be running into here. Okay, so let me pull that question back up here. Okay, how do you get the power you need to do powerful spells? Okay, I think everyone can hear us now. We're good to go. And again, I got to say it. More power isn't necessarily what you need, right? Like, you don't need a race car to go to the grocery store. Just because it's more powerful doesn't mean it's better suited to the purpose. You don't need a sledgehammer to hammer a nail. You can do damage with too much power, right? So the right amount of power is what you need. That said, I think the question is, how do you cultivate personal power, maybe? And if that be the case, that's something worth talking about. The first way to cultivate power is to strengthen the will. And will is like a muscle. You exercise it, it gets stronger. You slack off on exercising it, it gets weaker. Right? This is anyone who's ever quit anything or exercised their will knows what it's like. So one of the easiest ways to do this is fasting. Fasting is a very convenient way to exercise the will. Deprivation is a great way to exercise the will because you don't need to do anything. All you got to do is nothing, and then you succeed. So, fasting from food, fasting from whatever is good. Devotional is another excellent way of exercising the will, right? Praying a novena or committing to doing something for some period of time and following through every day or every night. Another great way to exercise the will. Much like a muscle, though, the will has to rest. You can't push it too hard or it will break. But it is something you cultivate. Willpower, though, is like actual energy, like your wakefulness, your alertness. It can be exhausted. There's a neurochemical component to willpower that you can run out of willpower and then you need to sleep. So bear that in mind. But practicing it, strengthening it, building the force of your will, your ability to command reality, is a great way to increase your personal power. Another thing is mirror gazing. Just gazing in the mirror, I just turned it on for a second there. But that looking in the mirror that way at your own eyes, definitely for prolonged periods of time, is a great way to build up your energy. Same with hand exercises. I'm holding my phone right now, so I don't have my hands free. But sort of holding your hands together, feeling the energy, moving them a little further, moving in and out, cultivating your feel for that energy is a great way to increase it. It's like exercise, like anything else. You want to become stronger, you got to work it to the point where it is strained, and then allow it to grow, and work it to the point where it's strained again, and then allow it to grow. And if you repeat this cycle, it will grow, right? So that's, and there are other things you can do. This is where working with other spirits, right? You bring their power into the mix, right? You work with a saint. You just need enough power to get the message out to the saint, and then they handle the rest. And I'm going to use that one to segue to another question here. Boom, boom. There it is. I want to do a protection spell for my friend and work with Archangel Michael. He's always interested me. This is a two-parter. I'm going to jump over. So he's interested me. I haven't worked with him yet, though. Can I start by doing a spell with him, or should I wait? So you have worked with Archangel Michael. We've all worked with Archangel Michael. Every day we wake up and we see the sun. Archangel Michael is omnipresent. He is that which chases darkness away. So unless you live in a life of real terrible darkness, he's been around, you just haven't known it's him. So that you already have a relationship with him. He is very easy to work with in the sense that there's no tricks, there's no it can't really backfire. He doesn't even want any specific payment. He wants you to be a good person. He wants you to chase evil away. He wants you to stand up and shed light on that which is dark and creeping and foul, right? And that's the promise of Saint Michael, Archangel Michael, right? With the morning sun, all shadows retreat. No darkness, no matter how dark it is, it retreats before the light and it's gone. It cannot stand. That's the power that we're talking about when you're working with Archangel Michael. And but we all know that. We know it so much we don't even notice it very often. So, you can work with him. You can get a statue, you can get a candle. There are, he's got two major prayers, basically. There's the shorter and the longer prayers to St. Michael. That's pretty much how you pray to him. You can speak to him directly. He's very accessible. And yeah, he's very benevolent is the thing. So you can bless things in his name. Working ideally on a Sunday is good, in the hour of the sun. There's some tradition that Archangel Michael has something to do with Mercury. I've been talking about this with some colleagues. I think that's horseshit. I think Mercury is definitely Lucifer, and I think assigning Michael to it it's not befitting to either of them. Personally, I work with him on Sunday. So yeah, I recommend just reaching out to him. Sunflowers, if you want to give him flowers. I give him rum and cigars, but that's very dependent on the tradition. He doesn't need that. He just needs you to devote yourself to whatever extent to doing good and to being that light, I'm going to answer briefly because it's relevant. I see you guys asking questions in there. I do want to go through this whole thing. The questions have already been asked, and if I have time, I'll go through here, but this one ties in. Why is Mercury Lucifer? Very briefly, because Mercury ties in with Prometheus, and Prometheus ties in directly with Lucifer. Lucifer's the light bringer. He sort of like illicitly steals and gives the light. Prometheus is the fire bringer. Mercury is a crossroads trickster, so he ties in with coyote tricksters and other raven tricksters. All these trickster spirits throughout all the cultures of the world are the ones who steal light or fire and bring it to humankind. And Mercury fits in with that group. So Lucifer does as well. So if you're lining up angels with Greek archetypes, that's the tie-in. Cool. So I will keep moving along here on questions. Boom. Thank you guys again for tuning in. More folks joining us. Some first-time tuners, inners. I hope I'm not too boring and my car is not too ugly. What else we got here? Okay. We'll do this one. What does it mean when your Santa Muerte candles turn black and break? It means that you probably worked against a lot of resistance and maybe not winning. When your candles turn black and break, you should get rid of them immediately. That's not a good sign. If it's a curse, hopefully you did that shit outside. It's a good sign. I mean, it's not a good sign for the person you're cursing. It's a good sign for the person doing the curse. If your own work for yourself is turning black and breaking, ain't good, man. And if this is like you introducing yourself to a spirit, maybe take some time, change some things, try again. It's definitely give it some time, at least a month. It's now it could happen for like real reasons, like non-spiritual reasons. If you happen to be using oils and such, and you like put too much oil on there, there's reasons that the burn can get fucked up, But if you just lit that candle and it burned like that, not a sign. And I would do. I think the cleansing stuff is gone. I would do some cleansing, Florida water. Use cleansing incense, or you could use sage, or you could use boldo and epazote. I love those two. But cleanse your space a little. Give it some time. If you need to try again, try again. And I believe the same person had asked, is it easy to work with Santa Muerte? It is. It's easy to work with her. It just can be costly if you're not smart. It's very easy. You make an offering to her. You ask for something in return. If that thing happens, you fulfill the offering. That's all. It's that easy. You can get fancier than that. You can work more closely with her. But that's the fundamental of working with her. It's a transactional approach. And that's how most people, I would say, work with her. And she fulfills that all the time. If she doesn't come through for you, she didn't like your offering. You see? You can give her an offering up front, but that's mostly to build a relationship. It doesn't undo the deal you make with her. So that's the easiest way to work with Santa Muerte. She is easy to work with. For how easy she is, she gives big results. I guess the caution I want to give, and I know it's not like you don't see a lot of Santa Muerte devotees giving caution, right? Everyone's like, oh, she's amazing, love her, which I'm not going to say one way or the other whether she's right for you. You're going to her eventually, and I think it makes a lot more sense to make peace with that. If you want to not work that way, that's fine. But if you love her and you're making a relationship with her, just be real about it. Don't take the parts you like and throw out the rest is all. That's not loving a person or loving a thing or loving an entity or loving a spirit or loving an idea. To love it is you accept the parts you're comfortable with and the parts you're uncomfortable with, and the parts you're uncomfortable with, you are as valuable to you. I'll leave it at that. I guess also I want to say the caution I was going to give before, she won't accept the same thing every time, right? Like, you can't be like, oh, Santa Muerte, if you do this for me, I'll give you flowers. Then you ask for something else. She knows the flowers thing. The price increases, right? And you end up, if you want something long term, you make a long term commitment. What do I mean by that? If you, Santa Muerte, make sure this always happens, or I do well at my job, whatever, you commit to always do something. Always keep a flame lit on her altar is one of the most basic ones. Always have fresh flowers. Always have offerings. Whatever that is. Good question that ties in. Once you start working with her, you can't stop, right? You can, but you cannot throw away her statues. You can give them to a temple, sanctuary, a place that will use them. You donate those, and then you just taper off the relationship. If you made a long-term commitment, you're not out of that. You can ask her to release you from it. That's a separate deal. But if you said, I'm always going to do this, and then you change your mind in a couple years and you give your statues to a church, or, a temple of Santa Muerte, or a practitioner, or whatever, that's fine. But if you made a commitment to always do something, she's going to hold you to that. So that, again, just be careful in the deals you make. That's just like in life, right? Just realize what you're signing when you make an agreement. That's all. What else we got here? Okay. Oh, look, perfect question. That person's in the room. When you finish your work, do you simply discard the roots, or is there a prayer first, etc.? It depends on the work. Okay? If it's, I'm making money charms and there's just extra whatever, sweep it up. That could even go in the garbage, right? If it's dirty workings, I want to get that away from me. I want to destroy that. I want to dispose of that properly, right? Throw it into moving water, throw it at a crossroads, get it off me, and then clean myself, right? Florida water, salt, all that good stuff. If it's something I want to keep the benefits of, then I'll keep as much of that stuff as possible. I'll put it in the potted plants in my house, or whatever, And then if it's just like, work, if it's something for someone else, get someone else a job, right? Someone hires me to get them a job, I'm doing some work for that. That can go in the the extras, or can go in the trash. Anything that's like, if I have candles I burn for someone on my altar, I guess I tend to exercise those first. Well, I exercise stuff a lot, and by exercise I mean I hold my trusty iron knife to it, and in the name of St. Michael, remove any energies, spirits, intentions, or vibrations that may reside therein, intentionally or unintentionally. There you go. Then it's clean, and there's no consequences after what happens afterwards. So it all depends. If it's dirty work and I want it to keep going, which is usually how that goes, usually it's not like, oh, I want this to suck for them for a couple days and then I want them to get better. Then I won't banish it, right? And I'll just discard it somewhere. We talked about that in one of the previous videos. I'll discard that somewhere, like an abandoned building or something like that. There we go. What else we got here? All right, I'll do these. There's some fun ones here. Hi, Mr. Moses, Brother Moses, Mr. Moses, whatever. How can one probably do sex magic, and what are the origins of it? The origins, I don't know that we'll ever know the origins of it, because the properly do sex magic is you fucking create a human being out of nothing. And that's the origins of our species. That's the most powerful magic that any human can do. And that I think you know how to do that. What are the origins of sex magic to fulfill other things? Okay, this we can talk about, and there's a few different types. One, as we talked about previously, energy, building energy through practices of discipline, etc. This can absolutely be done in sex magic, and that's probably the most common use of sex magic in like the tantric systems, and you also find the same thing in the Taoist systems. And you can find a lot. Montauk Chia is a Taoist sex magic author. You can find stuff by. But this idea of practicing control in really like present awareness and being really in touch with the body, and then exercising control to forestall orgasm, building up that energy, that heat, and then using that for work, that's a fantastic way of building up energy. It just takes practice. It's not as necessarily as like easy as being like, oh, I'll fast. You know, anyone can fast. It takes a little practice to get to really being able to build up the heat. The other way of using it that we see very commonly in sort of chaos magic is through visualization. The idea that and this can be done, so that's the first type of sex magic is between partners. It has to be between partners. You can't do that alone. But the sex magic you can do alone is using the orgasm in that moment of energy to crystallize a vision. So you kind of do your visualization the whole time, and start at visualization. Don't start with masturbation. Start at visualization, and you sort of build up your and you sort of at the moment of orgasm you crystallize your visualization, and that's something that people have it's a very good way of getting the maximum energy out of your body. That's even just the physical energy in your body at the moment of orgasm is significantly more. Think about even sneezing, right? If you could sneeze whenever you wanted to, that would be amazing, because you're generating all this force with your body working in union. You can't usually make yourself sneeze. You can make yourself orgasm, hopefully. If not, there's probably a different thing on the internet to help you with that. And that's, again, this tremendous coordinated force and movement of energy in your body. So that's how that practice works. And that can be done with a partner as well. Let's see what else we got here. Lust work you suggest to do to attract a specific person. So for that kind of thing, you really want something of that person. Their hair, their fingernails, their toenails, their clothes, their underwear. Ideally, all of it. My favorite way of doing, especially lust work, is to get in their head. And when I want to get in someone's head, usually a skull candle. A doll is good too. Really, I'm going to reference for all this, I'm going to reference Miss Aida. She's your go-to. Anything I tell you here is going to be me stealing from her, or me borrowing from her. But she's got some fantastic doll spells and skull candle spells, and I'm just going to tell you to go look at Miss Aida's stuff. I'm not going to even pretend that, because I don't do that much lust work myself. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything better than Aida. If you read her stuff or whatever, come across her stuff and you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to clarify, but I'm just going to be retelling what she tells. So look up Miss Aida. I think she's Miss Aida Conjure on Google. She's definitely on Facebook. She's on Instagram, but she's not active. But yeah. What else we got here? Doopy doo. Man. Okay. And we can start doing new questions too. Simple spell and psalm that brings in money for you. Lottery and hard to get jobs. Real talk, I don't use the psalms for lottery. I don't use the psalms for gambling. Some people do. Some people say it works. I never learned to use them that way. So that is what it is. generally, Psalms 114 is the go-to for business. If you want to be successful in business, Psalms 114. If you're in a business and you have a partner that you don't really, if you're in a business and you have a partner, whether you trust him or not, Psalm 63 also. Every day, Psalms 114, Psalm 63. Everybody, Psalms 23. Whether you're an employee, have a business, whatever. Why? Because Psalms 23 talks about the Lord. Psalms 23 is like the most all-purpose psalm, really. It talks about the Lord setting the table before your enemies, anointing your head with oil. These are all like the gifts of royalty and power. So Psalms 23, anybody can use. There are other psalms, if you're trying to get a job, Psalms 5, Psalms 20, they're ones to influence people. They're ones before meeting an important person. So the day before the interview, you might do it. But if you just want money, my favorite quick get that money spell that I use when I need it is it depends how broke you are, right? Because you could do this spell with everything from $1 bills up to hundreds. The bigger the bills you use for this, the more powerful it is. And if you start with ones, you should build up to hundreds, but I'll explain it to you right now. What you do is called a money web. And what you do is, let's say you're pretty broke and you got like $20. If you got less than $20, you got to take another approach to start with. Get $20, get your money up. So what you want to do is you get singles. Brand new is good, but whatever. And you take 5 of them. You basically make a spider web out of it. You take 5 of them and make a pentagon in the center. And then from each of the corners of it, you put one out, sort of spokes coming out of the center, and then you go around, right? And you as much as you got, you burn through. Don't use your only money. Pay your rent and shit. But your extra money, do this. Set this money web out. Burn a candle in the middle. Pray your Psalms 23. Or just pray honestly to God. One thing about prayer really quick. Praying honestly and earnestly from your heart is worth more than anything else. It says in Psalms 51, the Lord doesn't want a burnt offering, which is the highest offering you can give the Lord. The Lord doesn't want a burnt offering. He wants sincere prayer and a broken heart. That's the best thing. Whatever I can tell you is not going to be as powerful as that. Okay? So anyway, so you pray over it. You burn your candle on it. Burn a green candle, gold candle, whatever. Burn money herbs on it. You could look on my page and see the money herbs, but use cinnamon. Use allspice, use alfalfa, use alkanet, use 5-finger grass, use High John if you got bills to get over, use, that's good enough to get started. Chamomile, that's good enough to get started. You can fucking Google money herbs, you don't need me to tell you that. Basil, so you charge up your web. And the key is, every fucking dollar you bring in goes to make the web bigger. And once your web is taking up your whole table or your whole floor or whatever, you just add a layer. You add more spokes off the center and then connect it with more bills. And when it expands to take up the whole thing, bring that in, cash it for bigger bills. Maybe you make it 5s. Maybe, if you did the whole thing with 1s, you started again with 5s. The key is, you just want to keep building it up. Keep building it up. Keep building it up. You can do it with hundos, and money sticks to it. It becomes crazy how, your ability to just, when you got to complete a ring around the web, it's crazy how your ability to, keep your pocket money works. Another, I'm going to give you my 2 basic, most favorite money tricks. 1, when you pay someone, you take that bill, you fold it towards you, and you give them the folded bill. And as you fold it, you say to yourself, I keep the value. And there's a question, burn High John? Yeah, I'll burn ground High John straight up, personally. Yeah. So you fold the money towards you and you say, I keep the value. You hand that over. The other thing is, every time you write a $sign, you make the little S, just like we all do, make an S. And then, instead of going from the top down, bringing your money down, you go from the bottom up. That's all. You just make your $signs, boop, 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 S, bottom up. And if you really want to do it, you start your S from the bottom. So you go boop, 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 Boop. That's all. Watch the difference that makes. When you're bringing your money up instead of constantly pulling your money down every time you're thinking about money, it changes a lot. Especially if you're making dollar signs in ritual. That goes without saying. All right, let's see what else we got here. Boop-a-doop. Answered that one. Answered that one. Answered that one. All right. We're getting into technicals here, and then I'll take all questions, I guess. Boom. When you say you focus on your target's obsession, fascination, etc., what do you mean? Is not always obsession or fascination. In this one case, you know what, I'm going to end this. I'm going to make sure I can save it, and then I'll kick it back up with this, and then we'll just do live questions. Hold on one second. Hold on. We'll terminate this, and we'll go live.